Vincent Wong is one of the UK's most respected and recognised property entrepreneurs and an internationally recognised public speaker. He is the author of Property Entrepreneur and the co-author of The Wealth Dragon Way.
I believe in being the best version of yourself, whether it is in health, wealth, relationship, or spirituality. And I believe that how you do anything is how you do everything.
After gaining his MBA in 1997, Vince began his property business by helping countless property owners and investors structure win-win deals.
Business is like a work of art. There is no science to it, there's no right and there's no wrong answers. You have to build it, you have to work with it, and you have to fail many, many times. You have to keep getting better, and you have to find solutions.
At the height of the financial crisis, Vince pioneered groundbreaking financing strategies in the UK, Malaysia, and the Netherlands. He is credited as the father of lease options in these countries for structuring property deals without the need for traditional mortgage financing and deposits.
It's about building something that will add value to people, and you can change people's lives and transform people's lives. It's not so much what you do, it's the person you need to be in order for you to become successful.
In 2009, Vince founded Wealth Dragons with his business partner, John Lee. Their vision has always been to make self-education available to all, and they aim to become the first billion-dollar company in the self-development industry.
You just need to look inwardly at yourself to really find out what are the elements of power that have been lying within you that are waiting to be unleashed.
In 2019, Wealth Dragons Group plc made history by becoming the first UK company in the industry to be listed on a stock exchange. Vince is currently building a technology platform that will fundamentally change the way properties are bought and sold throughout the world. He is passionate about sharing the knowledge he has gained from a business career spanning 20 years. And his message is that you can structure property deals that grow your property business while helping sellers at the same time. That's why it's win-win.
It's a continuous journey. You're never truly there, and that keeps you alive, and that's why we're in business, and that's why we're entrepreneurs.
Hello everybody, good evening to you. All my friends from Malaysia, it's a pleasure to have you here on my masterclass. And today we're going to talk about the most important strategy in wealth creation, and that's property investing. So who we got here? Well, we got, just so you know, this is not a recording, this is a live webinar. So we've got Mary from PJ. Well, I'm going to show you some case studies in PJ. I've got Charles, you're a freelancer. I've got Carol, of course, from Wealth Woods. We've got Charles, and we've got someone from Langkawi, I think. I'm not jealous at all. Oh, there's Elias. Oh, how cool. We've got Jamal, we've got Cece. We've got a lot of people joining right now. And Bond, is that James? No, it's Gil, I think Bond. I thought I was the only Bond here. All right, so I've got a question for you. If you like the idea of becoming financially free this year through property, just type yes for me. Type yes. If financial freedom is important to you, just type yes in the chat box. You can see what the chat box is. We've got Jamal, we've got Elias, we've got DK, Vishalini, we've got Bond. I just love calling that. Right, okay, and you can hear me well, you can see me well, and if you can, just type number 1. I just want to make sure that my voice is coming over to you nicely. So it's a bit soft, isn't it? I'm trying my best. Let me just check on the sound. Not a lot we can do. Do you guys actually hear me well? Just type number 1 if it's okay, or is it just Carol can't hear me well? Oh, so now it's good. All right, good. I'll try to speak up. Right, so without further ado, I'm just going to go straight into it. It's a very, very hot day in the UK right now. Wow, it's like 30 degrees, which is quite unusual The difference is that we don't have aircon like you do in Malaysia. So anyway, I'm going to give you the best value there is to give you in the next hour and a half. And I've got a massive opportunity for you towards the end of this masterclass. So stay all the way till the end. So what are we going to be learning today? Firstly, I'm going to show you how you can buy your first property in Malaysia without saving for years for a deposit. I'm going to show you how to find deals and get instant discounts. There's a saying that in property, you make money when you buy, not when you sell. You don't want to speculate. And for those who want to build wealth, I'm going to show you how to build a portfolio of properties that gives you both the capital growth and the cash flow. You can't do one without the other. And this one is going to be really exciting. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works, how it is possible to make money in property without using mortgage finance and deposits. And also, I know now you're in another lockdown, and I'm very, very sorry to hear. But you know, in the middle of this crisis, is it a crisis or is it an opportunity? And I'm going to show you that it is actually an opportunity. So here are some of the challenges that you may be facing right now. If you have very little or no asset, it could mean that you have little or no net worth, and that's the measure of your wealth. Maybe you haven't saved enough money for a deposit to buy a property, or you're not earning enough to get a mortgage, or maybe some of you are too scared to get a mortgage. The biggest problem in Malaysia is that there are a lot of empty properties and developers can't sell their units, and as a result, prices are falling and investors are experiencing negative cash flow. This is really serious. Agents, if any agents here, just come and introduce yourself, because I've taught so many agents throughout the years. Agents find it harder and harder to just make a living from earning commission. And banks are not like lending like they did before, and homeowners can't borrow and then release equity. And so these are some of the things that I'm going to be covering today. So bad tenants, of course. I mean, who wants bad tenants in your property? So perhaps you might be wondering, why did I bother putting on this masterclass with Carol and Learn from Wealth Wolves? And perhaps if I can just take you back to the beginning of my journey and share with you my trials and tribulations, and then you understand exactly what I'm doing here, what has it all got to do with Malaysia and to you, all right? So this is me. Once upon a time, I had to make a decision, and this is me almost 28 years ago when I graduated from University of London. You know, my family came from Hong Kong, by the way. You know, I'm Chinese, although I don't look it. Some people say that I look white, but I'm 100% Chinese. So we came up to England. I was 12 years old, and then went to university, and I studied pharmacy. And so I was holding this packet of blue pills. I'll let you work out what they are. And I thought that, you know what, I'm going to be a successful pharmacist and earn a lot of money. And in fact, what I found was that day in, day out, I was just counting tablets and serving behind the till, not what I signed up to do. And so I decided to study an MBA degree. I just wanted to do something else. And today, if you're going to study for an MBA, it would cost you like $100,000 US. And so I did. I raised a bank loan, sold my car, and I worked 7 days a week to finance my MBA, which I did get. And in the end, I thought, you know what, I'm going to get the best paid job in London in finance and banking, and only to be disappointed because they told me that I was overqualified. Have you heard that before? You can overdo your qualifications. My mum and dad never told me. The bank manager gave me the bank loan, never told me, but that's the case. So I ended up back in the old, horrible pharmacy, counting tablets all over again. But this time I decided to start my own business. Now, business back then is not like business today, you know, with online and stuff. And my bedroom is like a warehouse. And I tried all sorts of things, and business was really hard. And then an opportunity came in the mid-90s, and that was the beginning of the internet, the .com. So we had this .com boom. And so I decided to create a website, which is a very new thing, to service the overseas Chinese communities throughout the world. It's called wambamboo.com. And the reason why I'm showing you this website is because it has a big influence on how I did my property deals afterwards. You wouldn't think there's any connection, but I'll show you later on. And things are going well. Lots of people were joining online. I was capturing the information as well. And then we started to promote online dating, which was quite a amazing thing. And things are going well. I've got my sister involved as well. We're all over the news. And then when things went well, and this happened in year 2000, the dot-com market just went bust. I lost every single penny, everything that I put into the business, and that was a catastrophic failure. But I just remember that, from Winston Churchill, he said, never, 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 never give in anything great or small, large or petty, never give in. And so I didn't give in. And so this time I decided to educate myself, but not to get another degree. I already had 2 university degrees, 1 bachelor and 1 master's. And so I decided to educate myself. I started noticing what's going on around me, and I realized everyone, not just in the UK, but throughout the world at that time, was making money in property. And that was my aha moment. So I decided to get my first property in London, because at the time I was renting and property prices were really expensive. But nonetheless, I found this ground floor flat in London, and it's very close to transport. Anyone would tell you that it doesn't matter where you are in the world. When you invest in property, it's all about location, and what? Location, right? So it's a property in South London. I bought it for £73,000 in year 2000. And if you multiply that by 5, that's the equivalent amount in Malaysian ringgits. So it's about, 360,000 Malaysian ringgits. But was it cheap or was it expensive? Well, put it this way. I only had to put down 5% deposit, which was 3,650, and the bank gave me the difference in the form of a mortgage. So the bank gave me the majority of the money to invest in this property. Now, that was back in year 2000, and now we're in 2021. I've still got this property with no mortgage, and guess how much it is worth? Today, it's worth £700,000, or 3.5 million Malaysian ringgits. If you believe that this is a good return on investment, by putting down £3,650 to make 700 grand, just type yes in the chat box if you think that's a good return. What do you think? I think so. I think, obviously, some people say, well, you can make more money in crypto, but I'm talking about the same safety profile equivalent, where property is an asset with bricks and mortar. You can't really lose the value of the bricks that build a property, right? So what I found was that in property, you only need to put down a small amount of money to buy a large asset that goes up in value while you sleep. The bank will give you the majority of the money, and you get to keep 100% of your profit. And that was remarkable. And it just happened that in the UK, we had an opportunity for this particular mortgage called buy to let, where banks will lend to investors as long as your rental will cover the mortgage interest. They will give you unlimited number of mortgages, regardless of your income, because the bank knew that it wasn't you who paid the mortgage, it's the tenants. And so I thought it was a great opportunity, all right? And but the problem was I didn't have any more money to put into the property because it needed 15% down payment. So what did I do? Well, I wasn't going to save for a deposit, because you're never safe enough for a deposit. I simply got a loan from the bank. Now, that was good, but I couldn't keep borrowing money just to buy property to put down as a deposit. I needed to find a way to recycle this money so I could use it to buy my next property and the one after next. And so what happened then? I read this book called Real Estate Riches by Dove DeRose, who taught me about refinancing. He said, well, if you know how to refinance, it's possible for you to recycle your deposit, to use it for your next property. So what did I learn was that if your property is worth more than what you paid for it, the bank will give you a new loan based on a higher value on refinancing. In other words, for every house you buy, that's the price you pay and the value of what it is worth, right? They're not the same thing. A lot of people get it mixed up. But somehow, if the price is lower than the value, or the lower is higher than the price, the bank eventually will give you a new loan based on a higher value. And through this process called refinancing, you can get a new loan to pay off your original loan and get back your deposit. And I thought that's ingenious. But I was thinking, well, how can I make sure that the price and the value are different, that the value is higher than the price? And I realized in the UK, we have a lot of these older properties that we can renovate, right? So when you do cosmetic work to a property, you can increase its value. So now you can refinance through this increase of value. So that's what I did. I was looking for older properties to invest in, and I found this property in London, and I paid, well, I didn't pay, I bought it for 155,000 in an auction, and it needed work, and I borrowed 23,250 as a deposit, and the bank gave me a mortgage of the difference. And then I borrowed a further £15,000 to do work. I put in new flooring, new kitchen, bathroom, and put new, good lighting. And when it's finished, it was beautiful. It's really, really nice. And so now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't like borrowing money, thinking that it's a bad thing. But I didn't mind because I knew I had an exit strategy here. So what I did was I went back to the valuer. I said, can you value my property? And it came back at £220,000. Now, you see, I bought it for 155, and now the value is 220. So I went back to the bank and say, hey, my property is now worth 220. Can you give me a new loan at 85% of 220? And the bank agreed. So the new loan was 187,000. So now with the new mortgage, I paid off my first mortgage, and I got back my 15 grand that I borrowed for the renovation, and the 23,250 for the deposit, and I got back £17,000 cash back. Now, obviously, now my mortgage is higher, but when I rent out the property, because I only paid interest on this property, and also it's in good location, when I rented it out, the rental covered the mortgage with the surplus. So the end result was, with the right deal, with the right finance and refinance, I managed to get back every single penny. It's like property for free, no money down, with positive cash flow and unlimited capital appreciation potential. Now, with the money, instead of paying back the people I borrowed money from, I actually pay them an interest and say, hey, can I keep your money, but I give you an interest, and I'll use this money for my next property deal. And I did exactly the same thing all over again. Is that a pretty good strategy? Well, I think so, because it allowed me to build quite a large property portfolio. And then I met this guy whom I regarded as my first and only mentor in property. His name is Palm Deep Fiducia, an Asian guy living in a city called Leicester. I mean, football fans, you know where Leicester is. And he taught me something completely new. He said, look, what you're doing is great, but if you wish to take a business to the next level, you need to find the problems in the marketplace and serve it. I didn't know what he meant. He said, well, you see, the property business is about helping people. And I said, you're right, it's about helping me, right? Helping me get rich. He said, no, it's about helping others. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, actually, there are many people whose properties are more liabilities to them than assets. And unless they can sell these properties fast, they can't move on with their lives. And they're called motivator sellers. And I said, you mean properties could be liabilities? I never heard that before. Because I think in the eyes of most people, all properties are assets, right? But according to Palm Deep Fiducia, for a lot of people, the properties are more liabilities, and they are motivated to sell. And why do you want to deal with motivated sellers? Because they'll give you a much bigger discount if you can help them sell swiftly and with certainty. And this is what these people wanted. And when you put your properties on the market with an agent, there's so much competition out there, it could delay the sale. All right. But if you can help people get rid of their liabilities quickly, they'll give you a bigger discount. And what he said also was that a lot of these deals are off the market. They didn't even come on the market. And their circumstances, motivated sellers are everywhere in the world, not just in the UK. They're in the United States, in United Emirates, in Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, everywhere. And in all market conditions. It doesn't have to be when the market was subdued or when the market is high. Motivated sellers want to get rid of the liabilities very, very quickly. So, but you need to find them and convince them that you can help them better than estate agents. And if you know how to position yourself well, they will find you as well. So it's about positioning. That was my second aha moment. I thought, you know what? I'm going to find as many of these motivated sellers as possible. So what did I do? Well, You know, remember that website that I had for the Chinese overseas community, the called Wang Bamboo, that failed? Well, I revived it and I changed it to a website. Instead of targeting lonely hearts, I targeted motivated sellers. And I was looking for homeowners who were facing financial difficulties, paying the mortgage, facing repossession, and so forth, having a divorce situation. Can you see that these situations happen everywhere? And overnight, I turned it into a success, and I found so many deals, negotiated so many deals, and I started getting investors on board because I couldn't deal with all these sellers. So I started working with investors to help them get property deals. And that's how I became, famous back in the days. And I helped thousands of sellers and property investors. And someone posted this and say, hey, Vince, 10 years ago, when you came to this networking event, you need to protect you from all the people wanting to speak to you. And it's true, because I had the very thing that everybody wanted was the deals, right? The sellers and the deals. And that is the key, right? And then I met my friend Marina, and I thought, okay, would it work in other markets? And Marina actually came from the Netherlands. You know where the Netherlands is? Holland, right? And she came up to me after she attended my Deal Maker Intensive course, and she said, Vince, do you think this will work in the Netherlands? I said, absolutely, because what I've learned is that it's to do with the people. Remember, people's motivation is the same. Homeowners are the same in every single country. So I made it my mission to implement my strategies in the Netherlands, which is a very different market, right? With different laws, but all those things are just technicalities. The fundamental of getting deals is from the people. And Marina loves helping people. And then she sent me this picture to say, there's this Dutch couple. In fact, the guy is actually from the United States, and the lady had a property with too much. The loan was too high on the property, and she couldn't sell it for over 9 months because she couldn't drop the price. And we couldn't buy the property because there's not enough discount. And her fiance's visa had run out, and he had to go back to the United States, and they're desperate to move to the States to start a family. So in the end, we did something quite creative with them, and we took over the liabilities in the mortgage, and we turned it into our asset using an instrument which I pioneered called lease options. It's called a lease option. And anyway, I'll teach you more about that later on. But the message came back saying that, hey, that girl wanted to marry her love in the USA, and as Marina received a message to say this wouldn't have happened without us. So we are actually in the business of helping homeowners with the situations to get rid of their liabilities. So let me ask you a question. If you like the idea of helping people in a business to help people, but make a lot of money at the same time, type yes. If that's your kind of business, type yes. Because if you type yes, then this will be the business for you, right? Absolutely. All right, because when people talk about property investors, they think, oh, the greedy people. No, we're in the business of helping people. Thank you. And I can see a lot of you like helping others. So you might think, well, you might be asking, what's all this got to do with Malaysia? So this is next. So what happened was in 2011, I got a phone call. And where did the call come from? From an event organizer in Malaysia inviting me to come to KL to speak in a property conference. And I thought, wow, I mean, I've been to Malaysia many times on holiday, but never, had anything to do with the Malaysian market. And I got it to work in the Netherlands and in the UK, so why can't it work in Malaysia? So anyway, I decided to come to Malaysia to do some research. And what I discovered about the market at the time was it's something not quite right. And I'll explain to you what happened. I think you're all familiar with this kind of exhibition, where developers unveil their new launch projects and investors queue up and they sign up to buy properties. And very, very popular. And I overheard this conversation between two ladies speaking to each other. And they both worked for a developer. And one of them said to the other, hey, I think we should increase the price so that we can give a bigger discount. And they spoke in Cantonese. They didn't understand that. 我講廣東話，可能做好過佢哋。I came from Hong Kong. I speak Cantonese. I stood right next to them. They thought I was a 鬼佬, right? And I said, and then the conversation kept saying, oh yeah, let's raise the price and give a bigger discount, give them more benefits. And I thought, this is not right. You can't just increase the price to give a bigger discount and expect people to fall for it. And you know what happened? People did. And that's what happened. That's how they sell property is in a 5-step process. First, they inflate the price, and then they offer a discount. How does that work? You know? And then they will use the artificially increased inflated price and discount to give you more free stuff, right? When I say free with inverted commas, like furnishing, kitchen appliances, curtains, you name it. People love new things. They say, oh, it's free, it's included. What you don't realize is that you pay for it because they inflate it in price. And the worst part of it is that they work with some banks to give you something called a no money down. So how it works is that they use the artificial discount to finance your deposits. So if you're an investor, you don't even need to put down a single cent or penny, not a single ringgit. It's free. And that is so popular. If I say to you, I'll give you a property for free, everyone thinks it's an asset, right? And they reach this by through exhibitions and conferences. And there was such a proliferation of these guru speakers who teach you actually nothing other than the next project that you should invest in, right? You know what I'm talking about. They didn't teach you anything. They just teach you what the developers want you to hear. Guess who they got paid by, right? I let you work it out. So you know what? And in the eyes of the unsuspected, no money down means cheap, right? Properties are assets, right? Remember what I said to you? Not every property is an asset. It could be a liability. It's a fine line between an asset and a liability. And then let me tell you the one thing that determines if a deal is a deal, all right? Whether the property is an asset or liability. So are you ready? Type ready. Type ready. I just want to make sure that you're still engaged with me. You're still listening to this. All right. You ready? All right. So we've got Oi, we've got Bond. I love that. Elias, Jamel, and Vijalini, Gobinath. All right. So this is what decides whether you've got an asset or liability. Is called cash flow. Cash flow. Cash is king. So what happens is if your rental income doesn't cover your mortgage payment each month, you're in a negative cash flow situation. And that means the shortfall has to come from your hard-earned after-tax income or your savings, just for the sake of keeping this property. And a lot of people say, well, it's okay if I'm out of pocket because property prices will go up. The capital appreciation will compensate for my lack of cash flow. And that is a fundamental mistake and a flaw, because what if property prices fall? What happens now? What are we seeing? Because for a lot of these people, they get these properties that are in negative cash flow situation, and there's such an oversupply, they can't sell them. And that means every month, these so-called assets are actually liabilities that are costing them money. And without cash, you're not going to survive for very long. And you understand what I'm saying. And often things that you don't pay for turn out to be the most expensive. And I thought, this is happening in the Malaysian market. And I felt that it was my duty to use this particular conference to share my views with the audience. After all, that's what I really observed. And by the way, that phenomenon did not just happen in Malaysia. It happened in many, many markets, right? In different cycles. And this was the conference. I think it was in Mid-Valley in KL. I think it was Sofitel Hotel, maybe, or Citadel Hotel, I think it was. And you can imagine this conference is really popular. All these gurus, come on stage and say, oh, this is a new launch. It's really good because da-da-da. And I was the only one who came on stage to tell them, this is really dangerous. You're playing a silly game. It's costing you money. Do you think I was very popular? No, it did not go down well. Some people were so defensive and told me, don't be silly. Property prices going up. All right? You don't know anything about Malaysia. We are different. You know what I'm saying? I can almost hear them saying the same thing to me. You don't know anything. You're from England. How can you tell me what to do? Right? And I said, look, it's not different. It's a different cycle. You are in a cycle called a bubble, all right? People don't know they're in a bubble. They think things will go up in value indefinitely. It doesn't. And some listen, but many people are very skeptical, and some even laughed at me. And I was a bit discouraged. And so, you know what? I could either go home and forget all about it, or being me, the entrepreneur, I was going to prove it to them what makes good property deals. And I decided to set up my business of deal sourcing in Malaysia. And this is exactly what I did. I set up my system. I replicated it in Malaysia because the people are different. No different. In Malaysia, you still have people, homeowners who facing repossession, they're losing their jobs, they're moving abroad, going through a divorce and so forth. And exactly the same, I found thousands of motivated sellers and did some amazing deals. So I'm going to show you some of my deals, all right? So are you ready? Okay, I'm sure you're ready, all right? So I'm going to show you some case studies. Right, the two things important in property is that you have to, number one, is make your money when you buy. That means you get instant discount. And instead of paying a premium, that's what people do with developers. We get an instant discount. So we can refinance to get our deposit back and recycle our money. And the second criteria is that it has to be in positive cash flow. So now I want you to look at the headlines where it says percentage BMV. In this case, it's 27% BMV. BMV stands for below market value. So this property is in Maluri, Shiraz. The market value is 430,000 ringgits. We bought it for 315,000. And that means the moment we bought, we made 115,000. So now we can refinance with instant equity. And when we rented the property out, it's in positive cash flow. Why? Because the value is not inflated. The value actually came from the bank. All right, so now you can see that the property looks a bit older. It's not like brochure type, glossy brochure, brand new property, but it doesn't matter. It's not about the brand new. It's about the deal. It's about the numbers. All right, so we've got this financing, no money down, positive cash flow. For me, that's a deal. Here's another one in Shah Alam. 440,000 as the market value. The selling price is 320. So we made 120,000 ringgit on completion, and we refinanced, no money down. We rented the property out. We still got 5.6% yield, positive rental. And that, because the property is close to transport and close to Management Science University, and we actually put bunk beds in there to maximize the rental cash flow. And this makes business sense, right? It's not glossy, it's not glamorous, it's a way better deal. Here's another one in PJ. I know someone's from PJ. You know where this is, center stage. The property market value is 750,000, and we bought it for 550. So the moment we bought it, we made 200,000 ringgit. Finance, no me down, 7.2% rental yield, positive. All right, pretty good, right? Here's another one in Subang Jaya. The market value is 1.4 million, and the seller accepted 990,000. So we made 500,000 Malaysian ringgit in one deal. And because it's got 8 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms, what do? We rent out the rooms individually to maximize the rental. And you can see in the picture, there's a bang and a wow. It's not an explosion. We packaged this deal for one of our investors because it's such an amazing deal, right? And it's great. And here's another one in Kelana Jaya. It's 1.25 million market price, and we bought it for 800,000. And the moment we bought it, we made 425,000. Again, it's prime location opposite Nobel International School. Shop lots, vicinities, and you look at it, you think, oh. For a lot of investors who are lazy, right? They say, "Oh, it's all this rubbish. I don't like it." Right? They want to walk away from it. But you see, a good investor will look beyond what is in front of you and see the opportunity, and you look at how you can actually partition this property and maximize the rental. You can throw away the rubbish. It's a nice property that has a lot of scope for further development. All right, it's quite a large property. Here's another one. It's 31% below the market value. is in KLCC with the Petronas Tower with you, and it's got 18 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. Now, the market value is 3.5 million, and we got it for 2.4 million. So we made 1.1 million just on this deal. Refinance, no money down, and we rented out the rooms through Airbnb because the location was so good. So this became a cash cow. You can see these are the deals I've been doing, and these are just among some of the many, many deals that we've done. So let me ask you, do you think these are juicy deals? Do you think these are juicy deals? If you do, just type yes. Type yes. That's what I mean. Thank you. Wow. So yes, they are juicy deals. And then words got out that speaker in 2011, Vincent Wong, property deals got out. I got invited back to Malaysia to speak in 2013, 2 years later. And that was me, third from the left. I was invited to speak at this large conference called Property Outlook Conference. And it's got thousands of people in there. And all of a sudden now I'm with these, not just, these speakers from developers, these are gurus and dartos and dartins. And I didn't really know who they were. But the one I knew was the one fifth from the right. His name is Milan Doshi. He's a property guru in Malaysia for many, many years, very well respected. And I knew who he was. So I introduced myself. I said, hey, Milan, nice to meet you. And I'm quite humbled to be sharing the stage with Milan. And this was the conference with thousands of people. And then I was featured in newspapers, in Chinese. I can't read Chinese. I can't write so well, but I recognize every single character. As long as it's not the simplified, I prefer the traditional Chinese. And then because of that, I got invited to speak in other conferences as well. That kind of launched my career as a public speaker. I never wanted to be a public speaker. It's just because, one thing led to another. And I was invited to Star Property for interviews, and I was on TV. And you see, it's funny, what I've shown you so far is that negative cash flow and falling house prices are what we're seeing in Malaysia today. Just look around and this is happening. So many investors are stuck. And I was right all along. And I think one of the most amazing thing was that, Milan Doshi, who was that property guru, when I taught people how to do it my way, he actually, he came to one of my classes, became my student. And I think it was a year later, and I saw Milan Doshi in the audience. And I went up to him, I said, hey, Milan, what are you doing here? He said, oh, I've come to learn from you, Vincent. I said, why didn't you tell me? I would have given you a VIP ticket to be here, You know what he said? He said, no, I wanted to invest I always invest in my education. I want to pay for it because that's what I would do to value what I learned. Because you give it to me for free, like his students. You give anything to his students for free, they'll never value it. And that's called skin in the game. And I thought, wow, that's quite humbling. And to learn from someone of his caliber, you see how successful people think. It's not always free. They see the return on their investment, or ROI, right? So do you want to learn how I did this deal? Do you want to learn the secrets of my success? If you do, type yes. Type yes. Type yes. Brilliant. Wow, what a hot day it is without aircon. I'm boiling right now with the sun coming through the windows. Right, so here we go. I'm going to show you exactly how it works. And it's not as easy as it appears. All right. I'm going to show you a 3-step process. And number one is that you need to find the right market. So what I mean by that is, and you can see this is the Malaysian market, 100% of transactions. The 5% is actually the new build with developers, the primary market. And that is the oversupplied, overpriced sector where all developers, investors will be attracted to because of the glossy brochures. But the 95% is the subsale market. And that is the market that you need to target. That is where the opportunity is. You see, the subsale market and the primary market are completely different. Yes, they're all houses, but the primary market is artificially created for investors. The sub-sale market are houses where people buy to live in and sell for a reason to sell. And it's not for necessarily just for profit. They sell for different reasons. And by far, the sub-sale market is way larger than the primary market. And the principle is that if you buy anything new, it will depreciate in value, like a new car. All right. In property, it's the same. You don't want to pay a premium just because it's new, because every new thing becomes an old thing after some time, yes or no? And you pay a premium always for the convenience. And so in the sub-sale market is different, and it's so much bigger, and there's no glossy brochure, but there are motivated sellers left, right, and center in the sub-sale market. And if you can find them and you can help them move sell the properties quickly, and you can buy them, you get huge discounts. And you know what? The opportunity, I'll go as far as telling you that the Malaysian sub-sale market is the biggest gold mine for deal makers who know how to find and negotiate deals. Why are they not attractive to most investors? Because I think most investors, from my observation, is that they're lazy. Because people they didn't want the trouble. And for that, they will pay a premium for the convenience. And also, many of them don't know how to do deals in the sub-sale market. All right, it's a big market, but they don't know how to approach it, and they don't like the idea that it's older, But let me ask you: would you mind doing just a little bit more work to make a lot more money? Yes or no? All right, I'm sure the majority of you would say yes, you would. So the Malaysian sub-sale market, if you know how to do deals in this market, you make more money than anybody else. And this happens to be my specialty for the past 20 years. And so step 2 is that you need to learn to negotiate. You find the motivated sellers, you need to negotiate with them. And when I say negotiate, is really to help them find a solution. Negotiation is the #1 skill in property, and most people do not possess it. In fact, a lot of the agents I met and those who call themselves negotiators, many of them just don't know how to negotiate properly. And the important thing to remember is never to assume, because the word assume makes an ass out of you and me. When you assume, like, I'll give an example. If I put in a very low offer on a property in comparison with their asking price, your little voice will tell you, oh, the seller is going to tell me to F off, right? They're going to get angry, get upset. They will say no. How do you know that? That's your speculation. You don't know anything about the seller's circumstances, right? You're just making an assumption that the seller's going to say no. Because the moment you've made that assumption, you have already lost. You've already made your mind up that no one is going to consider your low offer. But you have to understand the seller's circumstances, like, how quickly they need to sell. Why do they need to sell? Are they really motivated, right? And how much equity is left in the property? The equity is the market value after the outstanding mortgage. Do they still have a lot of profit in the property? If they do, they can afford to give you a lot more discount, right? And also in negotiation, and a lot of people say that the seller says no. Okay, they say no. But you know what? The word no in negotiation is the start. It's not the end, it's the start. So what gets you from the no to yes is your ability to handle objections, right? And this is what I teach my students. And the thing about negotiation is a learned skill. It's a skill that we're born with, that we lost while we're growing up, and you can relearn this. And I teach a lot of people who have no idea how to negotiate, and they become really good negotiators and deal closers. Okay, and part 3 is strategies. So once you get a deal agreed with the seller, how do you make money? So I'm going to share with you, there are many strategies, by the way. I'm going to share with you one of them, which is called a portfolio building strategy. It's very simple. There are 4 steps to this. Number 1 is agree at below the market value, buy it, rent the property out to make sure you have positive cash flow, refinance and get your deposit back. But make sure when you refinance, you don't overgear yourself. You don't borrow too much that your cash flow will start to suffer. Cash flow always has to be positive. And then step 4, repeat. And that's it. All right. It's that simple. Sometimes it's so simple that you think is ridiculous. Why didn't I do this? Well, let me share with you this gentleman by the name of Kim Hock, who's one of my students, and he's a university lecturer. I don't know how much lecturers actually make in a year, but he was not even a homeowner. But after attending my deal making intensive course, this is the result we got. Just take a look.
Hi, my name is Ong. Hi, the deal makers. Okay, I joined this in the deal making class about last year January, and until now it's about 1.5 year plus. So after I attended Vince's class, and I noticed that there's a lot of opportunity I can grab from there. So far, I have managed to, so far about 7 to 8 transactions have been done throughout this period of time, and I have owned 4 property from these below market deals, and each property can allow me cash out about 100+K, and which sufficient for me to pay for the deposit, legal fees, everything, and I managed to get additional cash to buy the next property. So this is my strategy, is that I keep buying and buying using the cash out from the previous property purchase. And after I bought the properties, right, I do room partitions that to get more room, I can rent out all the rooms and
well, there you go.
Get positive cash flow.
He did exactly what I just said with the 4-step process. Buy below the market value in a good location, and then he refinanced and got 6-figure cash back on every deal, and he used it to refinance and to recycle his deposit for his next property, which covered all the legal fees, and then he would partition the rooms to maximize the cash flow and repeat. That's exactly what he did. And so in that year, he did 8 deals. All right, for someone who's working full time as a lecturer, he did 8 deals. 4 deals he flipped to make cash, which I'll teach you about later on. The other 4 deals he actually added to his portfolio. Now he's got a portfolio of four cash flow positive properties. Is that pretty good for someone who's a working man? If you think so, that's time number 1 for me. If you think that's a pretty good result for just a normal person, right? Jamal says yes, right? Vichalini and DK. Anybody can do this. You just have to follow it and take a plunge. I think a lot of people are too scared to get involved in property, thinking that, oh, I'm going to lose my money. But if you follow my guidance and you follow the steps to make sure your cash flow is always positive, you're dealing with the right motivated sellers, anyone can create wealth through property and do it properly. All right. And okay, so this is Kim Hock, and I think it's fantastic. And I'm going to teach you some more powerful strategies. All right. So, but before I teach you the more advanced strategies, you can see that everything I've told you so far is quite different from what most people know. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this, and this is fascinating, and it will change the way you see property forever. And once upon a time, there was an opportunity which started in what I've described as a crisis. So this was in year 2008. That was the recession globally, the credit crunch, and it just somehow what appeared to be a crisis turned out to be my biggest opportunity. So what happened during the credit crunch is that most mortgage lenders stopped lending, right? And property owners couldn't refinance their properties, the mortgages, and they're stuck. And so my property business is helping investors, and it kind of stopped. And so it should have been a disaster for me. But then what happened? I paused and I asked myself a question. All right, the question was, is it possible to make money in property without relying on mortgage financing? If it is possible, then all problems are solved, right? I wouldn't have any more issues. And then the more I thought about it, the more I realized everything I thought I knew about property was not always correct, right? And then I came across this quote from this gentleman called John D. Rockefeller. It changed my life. It says, the key to wealth is to own nothing but control everything. Own nothing but control everything. So what does that mean? Well, let me ask you a question here. Type in the chat box if you know who's the biggest taxi company operating in Malaysia right now. Who's the biggest taxi company? Minicab taxi. DK says Grab. Jamal says Grab. Everybody says Grab. Right. Correct. Grab or Uber worldwide. They're the biggest player, make the most money in the taxi business. Tell me, how many vehicles do Grab actually own? Do they own any taxis? And Jamel says, nothing. Right. Isn't it true? Not a single taxi. There is a taxi business and they don't own a single taxi. I think that gives you a clue, right? What about the biggest hotel operator in the world? Who do you think they are? They do service apartments, they do hotels, they're the biggest. Right. Visuality, Aptus, Ilias, well, not Sheraton, it's definitely Airbnb, right? DKCC, you're right. You know what I'm getting at, right? How many hotels do they own? Airbnb, 0. That is what John D. Rockefeller says, is that you don't have to own something to be creating wealth in that industry. And controlling assets means you don't need to use money to do it. You don't need to buy anything. It means if you don't need to buy it, it means no mortgage, no deposits, and no problem, right? And I realized people have been doing this in the United States for a long time. And I read a couple of books. They taught me the concept, but no one really revealed how this could be done. And for me, I started thinking, well, actually, there were a lot of people, the motivated sellers who came through my network, my system. I couldn't help them. How can I help them and help myself without using mortgage? Now, here's the truth about property. For a start, anyone who's a homeowner right now, if you're a homeowner and you have a mortgage on your property, I've got some news for you. You don't actually own your property. Who do you think actually owns your property when you have a mortgage on it? And it's not you, it's the bank, right? Visually, everyone says it's the bank. The bank owns your house. As long as you've got a mortgage for the next 25, 30 years, the bank owns it. If you don't pay your mortgage for the next 5 months, you know exactly who's the boss. It's not you, right? So why do people obsess? Why are they so obsessed with buying property? It's because they want to make money. That's all it is. If you can make money without the ownership, without the purchasing, and you can actually help the sellers move on and create win-win situations, it is possible for you to do deals without using any money whatsoever. And the terms that you negotiate go into contracts, right? And I'll show you exactly how that works. And you see, if you don't have to put any money down and you get any kind of return, what is the percentage ROI? Well, the answer is infinite. If you put any money down, get more money back, you have a positive return, right? But you put down no money, you get any return, is infinite return. So it's infinite big yes or no, right? This is how powerful this is. If you understand this, that's why Rockefeller says you can get infinite return if you just control and not own and put down no money. And this is how it works. Wow. And what does that make property? Well, property, contrary to what people believe, it's not just an investment business, it's a deal-making business. If you can find the right deals, negotiate the right deals with the right sellers, and you learn how to use the right instruments to control the assets, make money for yourself at the same time, you don't even need to wait for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years and speculate in the future. You make money today. And that's why property is a deal-making business for those who are really serious about making money. So I'd like you to type the word deal maker in the chat box, deal maker, because that is what you need to become, is a deal maker. All right. So these are those who type deal making or deal maker, you're the deal maker in the making, right? And that is the key. Most people don't understand it. All right. So I decided at the time, no one did it in the UK. When I spoke to people, they said I was crazy. They didn't believe me. And so when something has never been done before in a particular place or country, it doesn't mean it can't be done. It means that you can become the pioneer. So I created the first contract for these deals in the UK, and every lawyer I spoke to said that I was crazy. This is American. No one's done that before here. And I made it work with a lawyer eventually who's just about to retire. He's been a commercial lawyer for 40 years. He says, let's be the first. And so we did the first deals with the first contract in the United Kingdom. And the beautiful thing about UK being an empire, that ruled the world before was that if something is legal in the UK, it's legal in the United States because it's the Anglo-American legal treaties. And anything that's illegal in Great Britain is also legal in 54 Commonwealth countries, Malaysia included. And that's exactly what happened. I took it to Malaysia in 2014 and worked with lawyers, and it's just a simple tweak. And I became the pioneer of this technical lease option, which I'll explain in Malaysia. And that's the opportunity. And then Wiley, which was one of the biggest publishers in the world, found out about this, and they decided to publish my book called Property Entrepreneur, which you can buy from in that big bookshop in KLCC on the top floor with a long name, begins with K. I think it's Kino something Kanaya or something like that. I think, yeah, that's the one, Kino Kanaya. Thank you so much. Right, Jamal, you've already bought it. Right, so it's available there. And so what I want to share with you is, again, crisis. Is it a danger or is it an opportunity? Right now, with COVID, you're in lockdown now. Is it danger or is it an opportunity? Right now, there are a lot of people losing their jobs. A lot of homeowners who are losing their jobs. They can't afford to pay the mortgages. They've got liabilities in their head that could be your asset, right? That's what I want to tell you. And you know, throughout my career and my journey as a property mentor and investor, deal maker, I've helped so many people. And when I taught my students how to do this, they got extraordinary results. You've already seen how Kim Hock had actually, did 8 property deals in 1 year as a lecturer. And so people ask me again, is it possible to make money in property without using mortgage financing? Absolutely yes. And the key here is it depends on the seller's circumstances and the terms that you negotiate, which is what I said earlier. I'll give you an example here. Let's say, now, by the way, this is just a big picture. You're going to have a lot of questions about how you actually do it, but I don't have time to go into all that in detail, but I'm just going to show you the big picture, right? So now let's say you've got a homeowner who's got a mortgage that he or she can't pay, right? And let's say the mortgage per month is 2,500 and there's 30 years left on the mortgage. And maybe the owner's lost the job, right? And the property value today is 500,000 Malaysian ringgit. So the motivation of this owner trying to sell the property is not necessarily to make the most money for themselves right now, is to stop paying the 2,500 every month. So in this arrangement, I would take over the seller's mortgage payment to say, okay, well, if you don't have to pay the mortgage anymore, that will free you from the mortgage obligation. In return, you're going to have to, number one, leave the property and find somewhere cheaper. All right. So now we control this property, we take over, and we promise you that any maintenance in the coming years is on us. All right. Until we can buy your property one day. Right. But in return, you will sign a contract that will grant us the right, but not the obligation to buy the property for 500,000 fixed for the next 10 years. And this agreement is called an option to buy. Option to buy. Options have been used extensively throughout the world, including Malaysia, as an established legal instrument, where the owner of the option can get the right but not the obligation to buy this property at a fixed price for 500,000 10 years. And so what happens here is I have total control over the property, and no one can come along and buy this. The seller cannot sell it to anybody else, and I'll rent it out immediately for more than what I paid for the seller's mortgage loan, right? So I would maybe decorate the property a little bit. Maybe I'll rent out the rooms individually, and I'll rent it for 3,500, and straight away I make 1,000 a month positive cash flow, right? Now, let's say I wait for 10 years before I exercise my option to buy. And after 10 years, let's say it's doubled in value, right? So when it goes up to 100,000, how much can I buy it for? Can you type in the chat box? I just want to make sure that you've been paying attention. When it goes up to a million, how much can I buy it for? 500K, correct. And how much do I make? Capital gains, 500,000. So that means I achieved 4 things here. Thank you, right? I think you're great, you're getting it. I achieved 4 things here. Number 1 is I helped the seller move on from the mortgage obligation and on with their lives. Number 2, I get immediate cash flow, right? Number 3, I get capital gains. And number 4 is I haven't put down a single penny because it's all the terms going into this contract called a lease option. Can you see how you can help someone and help yourself? And so the lease option contract would say if it's a 10-year option, you keep paying the seller's mortgage. You might decide that 5 years later or 3 years later, the property price has gone up and I can exercise my option to buy at any given time. And because at that point, when I buy is such a substantial below the market value, I can instantly refinance and do a no money down deal, like I've told you already, right? You can see how that works, right? So let me share with you this gentleman by the name of Jin, and he did exactly that in Malaysia.
Hi, my name is Jin. I just completed 2 lease option contract in December 2018 with the no money down. This one proved that it works. This lease option.
So concept. How long is the option period?
Option period is 6 years, but I just took it about 2.5 years. Then I exercised the contract.
Oh, you've already exercised the option to buy.
Yes.
So has the option, has the market value gone up above the option price?
Yeah. That time the contract, one of the property I contracted at 270,000.
Yeah.
But now the market value is 450,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Give him a round of applause.
Another one is last time 2.5 years ago is 140,000, but now it's 300,000.
Give him a round of applause. So these deals you did with no money down, and you work with lawyers?
Yeah, I work with lawyers.
Yeah. Okay. So does lease options work?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well done.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, there you are. It's pretty amazing, right? So, by the way, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. There will be so many questions. And lease option is something that if you're interested, you need to learn all the steps, the ins and outs of it. And once you do, then you know that it makes so much sense. And it's all down to the legal process to make sure that everything is watertight. So I want to introduce to you Elizabeth Seal, who's a very well-known lawyer in Malaysia and also an investor and a former student of mine. So take a look.
Hi guys, if you're listening to this on a Sunday morning, I congratulate you because while the rest are spending the time in the shopping mall, you are spending time learning to add value to your life and create wealth. My name is Elizabeth Seal. I have been a real estate lawyer for more than 15 years, acting for developers and property investors club, structuring deals, bulk purchase, block sale, and creative investments deals between them. About 5 years ago, I sensed that the property market is going for a correction and property prices is probably going to come down, and there will be a lot of property owners that will hold on to units which they cannot afford to pay. There will be lots of opportunities. That is when I met Vincent Wong. I attended his lease options class. During the time, we hardly heard of the word lease options, but he was already practicing lease options for more than 10-12 years in London. Imagine the vast of experience that he has. The skills and the techniques that he has is nothing in this world. I urge you to learn as much as you can from him because the time for those deals are here in Malaysia. And Vincent is spending a lot of time in Malaysia doing deals and creating wealth together with all of us. So once again, enjoy learning on a Sunday. Bye-bye.
Okay, so this is Elizabeth Seal. Is that pretty good? So do you like lease options, by the way? If you do, just type yes. The idea of helping people moving on, to move on, and then you can control the assets. And these people, are they everywhere? They're everywhere, especially now during COVID. Yeah, so you love it. It's great. Thank you. Right, and it gets better, right? Do you want to learn our strategy? I'm sure you do, right? So this strategy is very powerful because for those of you who said to me that financial freedom is important to you, this strategy will potentially allow you to fulfill that. And financial freedom means different things to different people. And for me, it means regaining my time, not having to work for other people and make other people rich, not being told when to go on a holiday and go to the bathroom and do what I want to do. I mean, what would you want to do? I mean, I want to spend more time with my family. I can give back. I can, rekindle my passion in all kinds of things, do charity, help others, and travel, right? So I'm going to give you this strategy, and if you implement this and you get one deal, sometimes one deal is all it takes to make all the difference. If you're in debt, it will clear your debts in one fell swoop, right? It's down to this strategy. Okay, so what is this strategy? Is the practice of deal flipping. Deal flipping. So what is a flip? Well, it's nothing new in Malaysia. People have been doing this for years. Flipping is a process in which you source a deal at one price, at a discount, and you sell it on before you complete at a higher price, and the difference is your profit. And why is it so attractive? Because property is, when you use it as a trading vehicle, because these are high value items, any margin you make could be really substantial when it goes into your pocket, right? It's not like selling a calculator or a microwave oven. It's a property. So now you can see #1 million property with 1% discount is already equivalent to 10 grand, 10,000. And you've seen a lot of the deals that we've done are in the subsale market are 25, 27, 30% below the market value. And when most of that discount is converted into cash, can you see how much money you could be making? And that is in a flip. So a traditional flip in Malaysia works like this. Someone would go to a developer to try to negotiate a discount. All right, again, inflated price, discount. Nonetheless, that was a time when prices were going up. So the investor will immediately sign a contract called an SPA, or sales and purchase agreement, with the developer. And that means with this contract, you have to put down 10% deposit immediately. If a property is worth if the purchase price is $500,000, you have to put down 50 grand. And you become obligated to complete on the deal, right? Because you are contractually obligated to complete on the deal and put down the deposit and pay any some taxes to the government. And the idea is before the development completed, you will sell it on to another buyer, because by then hopefully the price would have gone up, and then you make a profit. All right. Now, this was okay as a strategy when prices are going up, but prices are not going up. And also the discounts are right now in Malaysia, you can see that there's an oversupply of property everywhere. And what I don't like about this is the agreement called SPA. Why is that a problem? Because I am, as the dealer here, I'm obligated to complete. What if I can't sell it on? I will have to lose my 10% deposit, which could be a lot of money. Or maybe I'll be obligated to buy and complete on it. And what if I can't get a mortgage? Then I'll lose that money as well. And I don't like the fact that I have to put down a lot of money up front to make money potentially. And the worst part of this is since about 5 years ago, the government introduced this thing called RPGT. RPGT stands for Real Property Gains Tax. And that means any profit you make, you have to pay 30% tax. And I know how much Malaysians hate paying taxes. Yes or no? I know because you used to make a lot of noise about your GST of 6%. And I was laughing because in the UK, our GST is 20%. And I know how much you hated paying taxes. And so since the introduction of RPGT, flipping literally stopped overnight, all right? Which is a shame. But unless you learn, my flip is called a tax-free flip. So how does that work? Well, you can flip deals without paying RPGT. You still have to pay income tax, right? You cannot get away from income tax, but you do not have to pay 30% RPGT, which is a lot. So how does that work? Well, it all boils down to finding a motivated seller who wants a quick sale. And the first thing you want to know is this property. If this property or a similar comparable is on the market on iProperty, for example, what is the price? So usually it's higher than what it is worth, right? So let's say in this case, the listed price is 530 and the property value is actually 500. So why should there be a difference? Well, as far as most people, buyers are concerned, they always look at the price because most people don't know what the value is. But for me as a deal maker, I always find out what the actual value of the property is. And it's based on evidence of similar properties that have been sold. It's based on sold comparables. And when I negotiate, I always negotiate from the value and not the price. All right. So I produce evidence to the seller that your property, even if it's priced at 530, it's only worth 500. And so we negotiate a discount, let's say in this case, for 400,000. And the seller accepts 400,000, which is a decent sort of 20% below the market value. You know, it's not huge. So a lot of people would say, oh, okay, so shall we sign an SPA for 400,000? And the answer is no, no, no. And you know what happens when you sign an SPA? You have to put down 10% deposit and you have to pay stamp duty and you will be subjected to RPGT. So instead, now knowing how lease option works, I ask the seller to sign an agreement, which is called a lockout agreement. Essentially, it's an option agreement for 3 months. So this agreement will give me the right but not the obligation to buy the property at 400,000, and I have exclusivity to buy this for the next 3 months, and no one can take that away from me. And now I've got control for this property for 3 months. What do? I want to sell it quickly to somebody else, to a retail buyer who will see, wow, the property on the market for 530, and you can sell it for something like 480, they will bite your arm off. They will snap it out very quickly. Now, I'm not selling it for 500 because I want this to be a quick sale. And normally when you price it at a discount, they will buy it very, very quickly. So I'll let the buyer sign the SPA with the seller, nothing to do with it. So the difference between the contract price of 400 and 480 is what? It's the 80,000. That will go to my bank account via the lawyer on completion, being the person in the middle. And there is no RPGT to pay. All right, only income tax, which can offset with a lot of expenses. Now, here's the thing. I want to make it very clear. Number one is this is not a commission. All right, this is a mechanism through which, through the structure, you are part of the deal because you sign a long-term agreement. And hence, for that reason, you are not a real estate agent. A real estate agent would buy and sell a property by introducing buyer and seller, and you take a commission. But for this, the lockout agreement actually makes you party to this arrangement. So you don't need a real estate license. And also, the second thing is, have you put down any money in this deal? Type in chat box, have you put down any money in this deal? The answer is no, all right? If there's no money and you make 80 grand, what is your return on investment? Infinite return, all right? Any money you make from a deal like this is unlimited, it's infinite return, right? Bond is asking, what if you can't sell off after 3 months? You have no obligation. Remember, the option doesn't obligate you to complete, so you can just walk away from it, all right? But I will talk a lot more in detail one day if you're really interested in learning what happens this, that, or the other, you know, and everything will become clear. I just want to give you the big picture. So would 80 grand go into your bank account in 3 months work pretty well for you? I'm sure it's okay, right? Is it okay? I think so. You can do much bigger deals, you can do smaller deals, but this is what a flip is about. And I want to introduce you to this student of mine. His name is Sean Tan. Sean learned that I was coming to KL, and he wanted to thank his seafood me for this deal that he did. It's also known as a double settlement or back-to-back deal. He made a lot of money in this deal, and that's his fiance Melissa. They took me to this place called Cantaloupe. Has anyone heard of Cantaloupe? In a KLCC, in a building called Troika. Absolutely beautiful and really good food. And I just want to take a listen. Hello, I'm here with Sean and Melissa. Sean is Melissa's husband, and Melissa is the boss between them. And very kindly, they've invited me out this evening in this beautiful restaurant called Cantaloupe. And you can see the view of KL right in the center of KLCC. Well, I think some of you might have already seen Sean some time ago. He agreed on this deal and he did a double settlement. And Sean, so firstly, thank you very much for inviting me and Melissa. So just remind everybody, how much have you made in this deal?
Okay, so I made in the end 210,000 because there were some hiccups in the middle, but then it was sorted with.
It's meant to be 240, but now you
meant
make
to be
210.
Yeah, 210. Still good.
Of course, and that was in one deal.
Yeah, in one deal.
Right. So have you received the money?
Yeah, just totally received them. Yeah.
Right. So what are your plans now?
My plans.
What are you going to do with the money anyway?
I'll spend on a nice dinner with you. And
It's a very expensive dinner.
And of course, I will learn more and I will do more deals with them. Yeah.
So Melissa, what would you advise people to do? Apparently, you told me that of all the programs you've been to, this one makes you the most money.
Yeah, this one makes us the most money.
Yeah.
So I recommend for those who are still thinking whether to join Vincent in his next seminar, just don't hesitate, then just take action. Yeah. If you really want to make a difference in your life, then why not just listen to what Vincent is going to share with you, and then hopefully you can earn six-figure commission like us too.
Right. Remember, I said to you, the effort of doing a deal of 210,000 and 2.1 million is the same effort, right? And now you know this, how it works. We can do this over and over again. So very congratulations. I'm very, very proud of the two of you, and look forward to doing a lot of deals together.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you
Wow,
very much.
cheers. Who likes wine, by the way? I love wine, and I love that restaurant. Such a memorable night. Look, 210,000 is quite a significant sum. Obviously, I'm showing you some of my best examples. You could make less. You can make, even if you can make 21,000 in your first deal, would be still pretty good, right? And that's the thing about property, is it's the same effort. You know, if you want to do bigger deals. By the way, 210 grand is equivalent to how many years of income for somebody in one deal. I'll let you work it out. And I know university graduates earn about 30,000 a year or 35,000 a year. That could be equivalent to many years of income. And that's what I mean. One deal is all it takes for you to make a difference to your life. One deal, right? One deal. These are opportunities that many business sort of propositions actually don't provide. And I think property is, you know, for those who want to play an even bigger game, it's the same effort. So do you want to see a more extreme example? If you do, type yes. Because that's the thing about property, is that it's the same effort, because the seller is the same person, is a person with two ears, a mouth, and a belly button. All right. So I'm going to share with you a more extreme example, right? Just to motivate you if you want to have the aspiration to do bigger deals one day. It's the same skills. All right. This lady, her name is Datu Lynette Seat.
Hi Vince, just want to say that after attending your class, I actually made a deal. It's a luxury condominium in somewhere in KLCC, and I actually made 890,000 out of the deal itself by selling the apartment to a Hong Kong buyer. It was a distressed seller. So yeah, after that, subsequently, I also made another deal by flipping a hotel. So I think the key things is it's always about finding the property that is what you thought is distressed property, and really motivated seller to really cut off the deal. So thank you very much.
Is that quite extreme? 890,000 is almost like a million in a deal. It's possible. And, you know, Lynette, it's just like anybody else. Yeah, of course, she's a Dato. Maybe she has, you know, a bigger circle of influence, but she's no different from anybody. All right. So it all comes down to what I teach, right? And finally, I'm going to share with you something else. Is what if all you want is to buy your next house and not do all this fancy stuff? You don't have to.
You just have to take what I teach you, just apply some of it to your next deal. It will make all the difference to you. It'll be worth it, right? Now, I've got just one, I've taught you some really amazing strategies so far, I believe, and I'm going to give you just one more because I think it's important to touch on this. It's because I know there are a lot of property investors at the moment who've got properties, but they're liabilities, and they're either empty or they're in negative cash flow. I tell you what you can do. You can possibly get out of this situation. It's called rent to buy. Rent to buy is actually based on an option strategy, and in this case, what happens is you see the problem is your tenants either not paying you enough, or your properties are empty, you're not attracting the right tenants. But what you need to do is to offer your tenant to rent now and buy later by offering them an option. So you're not just trying to rent out your unit, but you're renting out a unit with an option for them to buy for the next 5 to 7 years. And why is it so attractive to them? Because now they have a fixed price at which you can buy that they cannot do today, but in the next 5 to 7 years. Either they can't get a mortgage today because the credit history is not good, and it will give them time to build up the credit history. Number two, you fix the price for them to pay so that they will benefit from the future capital appreciation, which is uncertain, right? But in return, what they will do for you is that they'll take over all your responsibility. So you're never going to get tenants who trash your property, and not pay your rent and stuff, because it's now tied to the option. And you can also charge them more, either as a front end lump sum of cash, or you can charge more rent per month, what we call a rent premium. And any extra that they pay, eventually, if you want, and that's if you want, you can offset against the purchase price when they buy to refund it back to them. So in the meantime, you will have a more positive cash flow and lump sums of cash that you would have otherwise, and a perfect tenant. And this is how rent to buy works. Very popular in the United States. Normally, when you rent an apartment in the States, New York, they'll give you an option to buy as well. And this is so relevant to Malaysia. And also the government in Malaysia is already doing rent to buy with some council tenants. But in the retail sector, this is going to help offload some of your liabilities. And I've done a lot of rent to buy, with people as well with my property. And all it takes is a contract, right? You can see how the whole thing is so flexible and so powerful. You can do so many things. And it's a business that will give you longevity in property, all right? And, I did a deal a couple of years ago worth 1.3 million pounds without using any money, but a rent to buy strategy, all right? So you can buy your dream home using rent to buy. Especially there are a lot of developers who've got loans on their developments. They can't repay it, they can't sell. There's something you can do. So the time for deal making strategies in Malaysia is now. So I have a question for you. I want you to type in the chat box. Who really wants to become a deal maker? Who wants to learn this skill and become a deal maker so that you can actually do these deals? If you do, just type me in the chat box, because this is a skill that will, for example, now in COVID, your job, even if you're working, is not even secure. If you lose your job, this is it. You're going to have to compete with thousands, tens of thousands of people who are out of job to get a new job. But with a skill like deal making, it will benefit you forever, right? So if you would like to become deal maker, so I've got Govinath with the DMS, we've got Elias, we've got Yin, Mohan, Abdul, Oi, Mary, wow, many of you, so fantastic. So let me tell you what the next step actually, and the cash, so obviously you need to know how to do it, and that means you have to learn how to do it. So here's some myths: is that if you think that, oh, maybe it's not for now, well, maybe it's not for now, property, but later on when you are ready, you still have to do the right thing. You still have to learn the right strategy. So why not now, right? But wait, because by the time you waited, prices would probably have to be different. You could have already done some deals rather than wait. You'll never be ready. Shall I read my book? Yes, you can, but you're not going to learn how to do these deals by reading my book any more than what I've taught you today. So today is like a fast track to learning from my book, right? I've taught you pretty much, all the strategies. Or if any one of you is in debt, trying to pay off your debt is like trying to save money for a deposit to buy a house. It just doesn't happen. Most people just end up getting more debt. But don't forget, you do one deal, you can actually make all the difference. Or some people say, "Oh, I already know this." Well, then go and do it. But I doubt very much that you know it. Or property is really hard work. Everything I've taught you is based on the principle of leverage. That means minimum effort for maximum results without using finance. It sets you free, right? All you need is to learn how to do it, how to find the sellers, and how the system works. And anyone can do it. And so what is a deal maker is not just an investor. You're an entrepreneur who is out there to do win-win deals and solve problems. Pretty much what my mentor Public Edition taught me. And money is never an object, because a lot of the deals, the strategies I've taught you is based on no money down. But you have to be good with people. You want to help people, and ultimately you want to learn before you can earn. Right? I want you to remember: learn before you can earn, because once you learn this, you have unlimited earning potential. But more importantly, you have to know your why. Why are you here? What's the reason for taking the time this evening that you could go out, or you can't go out, or watch TV, but you're here with me. Your why has to be strong for you to be successful. This is my why. What got me to where I'm today is my desire to help a lot more people in the world. I want to give more than I take from this world. We build schools and villages in impoverished countries to help orphans in third world. That's my why, right? If you don't do it just for you, I do it for my family. And you can see these are my children, half Chinese and half Danish. And we're in a KL, and I do recognize Mandarin Oriental Hotel, third floor where the pool is. They all know me there. And I'm just very happy to have had the opportunity to be a father, to give opportunities to my children to see the world, to travel the world. But I make sure that they understand, they know the value of money. And I make them start a business. They had an organic farm egg business where they were selling organic eggs to people working in offices. And they make more money than most of the kids in their age, and that's what they are. And for me, it's my freedom, and also I want to have something to show for it as well. Why not? And by the way, I want to be surrounded by successful people. That's John Lee, my business partner, and these were friends who were very successful in business. And that night we're in Switzerland, in Lake Lugano, just having dinner overlooking this beautiful scenery. And we're just talking about building eco villages, how to change the world. And it's just so surreal. I remember for one moment, just 20 years ago, I was counting tablets in a pharmacy, in a chemist shop, being disgruntled, and I'm dissatisfied. And I'm so happy that I made the decision. But I had to go through 20 years of my trials and tribulations, right? And that's what drives me to teach others to fast track. If I can compress everything I've learned in 20 years with my life to give it to you, I mean, would you not want to learn? And that's John's wife, Jennifer. She's Malaysian. Jennifer is from KL. My own sister is married to a Malaysian as well. It seems like Malaysians everywhere, dominating my life. And my business partners are Malaysians, Leung and Carol. And so that's why I always have this relationship with Malaysia for all these years. Before the lockdown, I came to Malaysia every single month, and I did. And this was an ENO hotel in Penang. And this was the most amazing Malaysian we've met, and that's Jimmy Chu. He also lives in London. And it's funny, whenever we get to catch up for lunch, and you have all these screaming women running towards us, not for me, not for John, for Jimmy Chu. But he's such a humble person. And I just want to share with you this picture. I've just, by the way, this is not even my new Aston Martin. In fact, 3 weeks ago, I picked up a new Aston Martin Vanquish convertible. So now I can drive around in this weather with the top down. I want to share with you because this is my moment. When I get in the car, I earned this. I took, my risk, and I've got something to show for, and it's okay, right? So this is my moment. What is your moment? If you don't have a moment, you need to create one. Let's create one together that you feel special, that you earned it, right? And it's okay. And I see that my message going out to the world, that my book's available in bookshops, and me being on the front cover of a magazine, which is quite surreal. Being voted as one of the top 10 property investment coaches by Yahoo Finance is a very prestigious publication. And John and I were still building businesses to better humanity. We don't do it for the money anymore. We do it because we want to give back. We're passionate about business. So, and in 2019, a year and a half ago, we listed our company in the Vienna Stock Exchange. It's the first company in the self-development in this industry that has been listed on a stock exchange. And when we went on the market, the company is worth 36.3 million euros. And me and John Lee are still majority shareholders. We own 80% of the company. And I think, look, I'm not Richard Branson or anything, but I think I'm okay for someone 20 years ago who was counting tablets in a pharmacy, not knowing what to do. But you have to make a decision. So what is your why, and who you learn from, right? If you want to be the best version of yourself, you need to have a mentor. You need to learn this. And people ask, so Vince, do you mentor anybody? Well, I don't anymore because I'm very, very busy with my businesses. And also, if I do any consultancy, I do charge £5,000 for 1 hour, or 25,000 ringgit for 1 hour. And that usually companies or high net worth, ultra high net worth individuals need my consultancy, and that's what they pay. I spent half an hour on the phone. I got 25 grand discount for one of my clients, and I charge them 5,000 in that half an hour. That's what my fee is. But today, the reason why we're here is because you want to learn this. I want to teach you. I can't do it one-to-one, but I've created something very special for you. And before I tell you what it is, I want to tell you why I created this. It's because I wish I had this when I started out in property, and I really want to help you. I know a lot of people are struggling, and you have a dream, but let's turn it into a goal, achievable goal. I want to help you. And I'm also looking for business partners, because a lot of my business partners today, once upon a time, were my students, like Carol, like Marina, like Florence, like a lot of them. And it's also my legacy. So the way I can teach you to become a deal maker is through this program called Deal Making Intensive. So what is it? It's a 2-day live virtual event, all right, where I will spend 2 full days with you to teach you everything about deal making. So this program I've taught for many, many years all around the world, in Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Asia. I've produced among some of the most successful property deal makers. And you've seen a lot of examples as well. And that could be you, all right? So let me tell you what it's about. It's a blueprint to success in property by creating wealth so you can become asset, cash, and time rich and add value to people. That's all what it's about. So who's it for? Doesn't matter whether you're a first-time buyer, you like the idea of flipping deals, you want to build assets without using money, using lease option rent to buy, or you are an existing investor with properties that you want to get rid of the liabilities and you want to do better deals. Is for everybody. But you have to have the willingness and capacity to learn new things and put knowledge to action, and always have a positive entrepreneurial mindset, because deal making requires a lot of positive mindset and add value and help people. I keep stressing that because it's so important. And be ethical, all right? Ethics stand in the very heart of my business, because you're dealing with a lot of sellers who will give you huge discounts, but you have to be fair to them, all right? And it's not for people to get rich quick. This is not what it's about. And it's not for people who don't want to do any work, because deals are not going to fall at your doorstep. And it's not for people who say everything is expensive and you don't want to invest in your education, for example, because there will be a fee, and I will let you know what it is. But if you want everything for free, then you will be one of those property investors who want a free deal, but you just end up getting liabilities, because a lot of the free stuff out there will actually do the opposite. And I want you to remember, right? There are things that are worth investing in. So don't let that put you off. And it's not for people who say that I can't do this, I can't do that, right? So if this is for you, my team will put the next date in the chat box, and it is very, very soon. In fact, if you guys are free this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, both days, it will start at about 2 p.m. your time and it finish at 10 p.m. your time. So it'll be my morning, early in the morning. We start at 2, we'll finish at 10, and for 2 days. You'll have breaks, and you can do this in the comfort of your own home. So next weekend, Carrie, you can just put the dates. That would be great. It's the 12th and 13th of June, 2021, Saturday and Sunday. So that means after this weekend, by Monday week, you will probably be changed in your life. All right. So let me just break down exactly what you're going to be learning. The 4 components. Number 1 is order fundamental. So for those who've never even done property, you don't have to be experienced in property. I will show you all the basic stuff, what the model is, the valuation secrets, no money down secrets, due diligence processes, how to stack the numbers. These are fundamentals, and that's the part 1. Part 2, I'll show you how to source deals. In particular, I'm going to share with you how to find motivated sellers using a website, using my automated process. In Malaysia, you find more motivated sellers than you know what to do with it. It's such a huge opportunity. Your market is so raw in the sub-sale market. It's so new. There's literally no competition. All right. Third thing is all those strategies that I taught you, lease options, rent to buy, double settlement, the flips. I will teach you step by step, ins and outs, no question unanswered. The legal framework, how it works in Malaysia, everything will be in great depth. And finally, the last part is how to close deals, how to get deals at 25-30% discount, the rules of negotiation, how to handle objections, and that will make you a deal maker. And anyone can learn this. All right. And when I teach, it's very engaging and people love it. So just to summarize the whole thing, 4 components. The total value is 9997, and I wish I had this. And yes, foreigners in Malaysia, absolutely, because when it comes to control and not own, you don't need any bank loans or anything. Total value is 9997. I wish I had this. I would have paid 10 times this when I first started out to learn everything here, based on my 20 years of experience and trials and tribulations. Okay. Now, for those who enroll today, I'm going to give you extra bonuses, 5 of them. All right. I'm going to run through them very quickly. The total value for these bonuses come to 7,985 ringgit. And you can buy these individually if you don't want to come to the live event. So let me just run through what they are. The first one is the foundation program, which pretty much what you learn in DMI live event, but is in an online version where you can access through your mobile devices. And this foundation program is worth 1,247. But if you sign up to my Dealmaking Intensive, I'll include this as your bonus number 1. Bonus number 2 is how to find motivated sellers. Again, things that I'll be teaching in the live event, how to generate leads, how to find motivated sellers, how to systemize it. This program is worth 1,497, and I'll include this if you get a place on a Dealmaking Intensive. Bonus number 3 are the negotiations, all those templates, live recordings with real sellers are all included in this mega pack. Is a lot of information here. It's worth 2,497 ringgit. I'll include this as bonus number 3. And bonus number 4 is all those tools that we use to do deal making, spreadsheets and software to stack the numbers, and checklists and so forth. I will include them because it will make your life so much easier. These are things that we use on a regular basis ourselves for our property deals, right? It's worth 1,247. I'll include this. And last but not least is the lease options. I've got a quick start program brought to you by me. By the way, if anyone tells you in Malaysia that they teach lease options, you can guarantee 2 things. One is that they were once upon a time maybe my students, or they've never ever done it before. They've probably read my book. I'm the pioneer of lease options in 3 countries, all right, including in Malaysia. And everything I teach you is based on my personal experience, based on my many deals. Okay, so just to summarize the whole thing, right, with the 5 bonuses, come to 17,982. Of course, I'm not going to ask you to pay that. And today, the special offer is just 5,997. So if you want to enroll into this for this weekend, the link is at the bottom. Is vincentwongceo.com/DMIKL. So team, if you can just put the link in the chat box, you can click onto that as well. And then you can actually get yourself enrolled. The link will be in the chat box, all right? Now, just to recap the offer, total value is 17,982, but you only pay 5,997. Now, yes, it is an investment, but this is property, and you'll make back all your money just in one deal. And one deal at least, you can make back 10 times that. And you know, the only reason why you don't is if you don't do the deals, all right? And if all you did was just one bargain property, or flip one deal, or do one lease option, you'll make it back 10 times more, all right? Now, here's the thing. No one in the history of participating in deal-making intensives paid any less than 5,997. In fact, I used to charge 4 times this amount because it's a premium program in property. And this is what Milan Doshi actually paid, the guru. He paid to attend my course. Now, for those of you who are still here, I know you really want to do this, and maybe some of you are still having financial, maybe is a challenge. And that's why I said stay until the end, because I want to reward those who stay until the end and who really want to do this. And I know COVID is not helping, but I don't like sort of slashing prices because it's not what it's about. This is my personal asset. But if I would do something really special, more special for you, who would like me to do something really special? If you do, just type me in the chat box. Type me if you want to get onto this program and you want me to do something really amazing for you so that it is affordable to you and you have no reason for you not to do it, but to register today. Now, I want to incentivize you, all right? So we've got a lot of people. We've got Bond, Akash, we've got Fadi, we've got Jamal, Govinav, Abdul, Mary, so a lot of you, right? So I want you to take action now. Just for those of you who want to do this right now, the price is not going to be 5,997 for the next 10 minutes only. I'm going to be starting the clock for the next 10 minutes. If you register right now, your price is only going to be 1,997. I'm going to sponsor you 4,000. And I've never ever done this before. So Fadi as well, Ji-Yin, Elias, yeah, it's all virtual. So go and register now. And so for those who register now in the next 10 minutes, I will also give you, for the first 30 people only, I've got a lot of people on, I'll give you even more. I'll give you, I can't drop the price, but I'm going to give you more value, totaling 57,800. So that will be a no-brainer to you, but you have to take action right now. Okay, this is the link. So for the first 30 people register in the next 10 minutes, the first thing is I'm going to give you my one-to-one time in a group mentoring session. And that means it's an extra session that will be not just about property, but it'll be about you. And you know, I charge 25,000 for 1 hour for my time. And if you're the first 30 people and you've got questions about your life in general, about your finances, your business, you know, I've helped many businesses succeed and you want my input, I will include you in this mentoring session, which we'll organize after Deal Making Intensive, all right? And so first 30 people is worth 25,000. So that if you want to spend time with me, I mean, you spend 1 hour with Warren Buffett will cost you 3 million. I'm not Warren Buffett, but I can actually help you with my experience, you know, as a senior figure in business, all right? By the way, if you're not from KL, it doesn't matter. This is universal. If you're in Dubai, it doesn't matter, okay? You will learn this. The second fast action bonus is worth 4,800, and this is a no-brainer. You know that lockout option agreement that will allow you to flip deals without putting a single penny and not having to pay RPTT? I will include it in your offer if you're the first 30 people. And usually people pay 4,800 each time they use it on license. But for me, I want you to get results. When you get results, you will do a testimonial for me to edify me, and I will make you'll make me proud. And this agreement, if you're the first 30 people, I'll let you get access to it with unlimited access. So you can use it over and over and over and over again without having to go to a lawyer. Because if you have the lawyer to draft this contract for you, you wouldn't even know where to start. It will cost you 100 times this. All right. So first 30 people. And last but not least, all the other remaining contracts for lease options, rent to buy, deed of trust, everything in Malaysia that I have spent considerable amount of my fortune and my time over the years to perfect for your benefit. I will include this for lifetime access to these contracts worth 28,000 for the first 30 people. So is that amazing? It's a good deal. You can see that, right? So and you can have it over and over and over, use it and study it and make use of it. And so this is literally, I've got nothing more I can give you now. Pretty much my life's work in this offer for just 1997. And this is for you if you're a beginner or expert. I mean, a few people are expert in this field. If you want results fast and you want to build wealth in property, and you've always wanted to be in property, this is the best opportunity right now. All right. So welcome, Jin. Anyone who's registered, just type your name in the chat box so I know who you are. So I know that I'll be meeting you this weekend. All right. So just do it and don't delay. All right. This is just one final time. You get absolutely everything for just 1997, and the link is at the bottom. All right. So here are some of the questions. If you've got questions, Bond, Mandy, fantastic, right? Welcome. Look forward to seeing you. And if you think that you still can't afford it, find a way to do it, because this is how you become resourceful as a deal maker. But once you click onto the link, you'll get to this page with fitting details. My team will look after you from here. And I've never done it before, and I won't do this again. So do this now. It's a one-off opportunity. All right. So here's some of the common questions, like if I'm a complete newbie, is this right for me? Yes. It doesn't matter if you're completely new. Do I need any money to start? No. Here's the thing. If you are here because you want to be in property, a developer would extort tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands from you. All you need to put in is 1997 and you learn how to do no money down deals like lease options, rent to buy, double settlement. All right. So no. I can't get a mortgage. It doesn't matter. Control and not own. And if you can't get a mortgage, there's more reason for you to learn this. All right. Does it work in Malaysia? Don't even ask me that. It's a million times yes. I've been doing this for many years. All right. Do I get support after the program? Yes, you get local support, and we're here to assist you. So don't worry about anything. I'm here to look after you. I'm shy about talking to people. Then you need to grow. And this is one chance. In the weekend, you will grow, because I'll show you how to communicate with people. People who are shy will never grow. And people who are shy is because you don't know how to communicate. But I'll show you how easy it is to become a great communicator. All right. How is this different to all the other property courses? I've taught a lot of the gurus in Malaysia and all around the world in property. So you learn from the guru's guru. I'm a student, am I too young? No, but be at least 18 or get parental consent. If I can't make the date, secure this offer, and you can come at a later date without paying extra, because the price will go up, but you have to secure the offer today. I'm too busy with my business. I'm working up full time. Look, this is your get out of jail card, because you're working hard is just going to get worse as you get older and you get busier. Remember, one deal is all it takes for you to make all the difference. Do you offer any payment plan? Look, if anyone is really struggling, still 1997 is a challenge. I do have a couple of places that I've set aside. I've spoken with Carol and Lowe from Wellswood. If you can't pay all in one go, you want to pay installments, then what you want to do is to contact Carol immediately. The phone number is in the chat box. So take action now, and they can organize something for you. Maybe you won't be able to come to this weekend, but you can maybe spread out until the next event, all right? We'll give you the date. But sometimes if you really want to do something, you have to do whatever it takes, okay? So one last time, this is the entire super mega offer for 1997 to learn 20 years of my skills, my experience, the knowledge. I've given you all the tools, all the add-ons, and this is the deal of the century. So deal making intensive, I've already given you the biggest deal of the century. To turn this COVID sadness into the biggest opportunity of your lifetime. So whether you're going to take it or not, I think you have 2 minutes left to make a decision, but it's about making a decision right, because once it's gone, it's gone. And the link is at the bottom. And look, be creative. If you really want something, there are things you can cut out on in your life, like, you know, money that you spend unnecessarily. And if you're paying on, you know, maybe a holiday, which a lot of people can't go anywhere, your job has no guarantee. And this would be your life's insurance, because these skills will serve you for the rest of your life. So the payment plan application, Carol's already put in the chat box. All right. So on that note, I want to say thank you to you for being here, for taking the time to learn from me. For those of you who signed up, who are in the middle of signing up, I look forward to seeing you in Deal Making Intensive. You absolutely love it. I'll teach you absolutely everything. You'll be so amazed at how good this program is, and then you're ready to do deals by next week. All right. So I've given you all the tools, and for the rest of you, I just want to say thank you once again, and stay safe. It's important to look after yourself as well. So it's been a pleasure being here with you, and I'm going to keep this screen on for a little while so you can interact with my team if you've got any further questions. Once again, I thank you, and I'll see you, and look after yourself and take care. Bye for now. Bye.
The recording has stopped.